Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into the channel for another Escape from Tarkov video. This one will focus on building loadouts with low movement penalties while still protecting vital areas and having space to loot and make big profits. Kitting up with gear that maximizes your mobility can be a good way to be the first one to hot zones on the map. It also helps with getting to and from quest objectives and can give you an edge in combat by allowing you to reposition and avoid threats more efficiently. On top of this, minimal ergonomics and turning speed penalties can help with staying on target in hectic gunfights. With these advantages, however, come a few downsides, including a high price tag on some of the premium equipment. These loadouts are not budget kits, and in some cases they sacrifice protection or loot space in order to maintain a high mobility. While it may not fit everyone's playstyle to run full mobility kits, and they're not the best option for every situation, players who like to rush hot zones or play a hit and run style should find them quite useful. To start with, I will go over the armor, helmet, and backpack options that work well for these setups. And to close the video off, I'll provide a few examples of using these pieces to create full loadouts. I've selected 4 pieces of armor that fit into a high mobility loadout, the criteria being that all of the mobility penalties had to be 10% or lower while still being at least class 4 armor. 2 of these vests only cover the chest and 2 cover the full torso. It's up to you whether you want to sacrifice armor coverage for higher mobility. The first piece of body armor we will be looking at is the Trooper vest, which is dropped by scav raiders or can be purchased on the flea market. The Trooper is class 4 armor and only covers the chest, but it has pretty good mobility stats, a 9% movement penalty, 2% turning speed, and -3 ergonomics. While it only covers the chest, it's made of durable materials so it can take multiple hits and be repaired easily. The 511 TacTech armored chest rig is sold by level 4 Ragman for 135,000 rubles, and has some barter trades available as well. This is an armored tactical rig, offering class 4 protection over the chest and space for 6 magazines and 8 grenades. The TacTech rig is an expensive piece of kit, and for a long time I had never considered running it as a standalone piece of armor due to the high cost and minimal coverage. This rig actually has the best mobility stats on this list, however. A 7% movement penalty, 3% for turning speed, and -3 ergonomics. With that comes the disadvantage of a high cost, no stomach protection, and a low durability of 45 points. It is made of durable materials, however, so it can survive a few shots and repairs. You can also loot an extra piece of body armor off of kills while wearing this rig, because it doesn't take up your armor slot. The Gazelle armor is sold at Ragman level 3 for 89,000 rubles, and has a barter trade for coffee and a gold chain. The vest covers both the stomach and chest, which can help avoid the annoyance of a blacked stomach. It gives you a 10% movement penalty, 3% turning speed, and -4 ergonomics. Overall, I think this vest fits nicely into a mobility setup if you prefer to cover your full torso. It doesn't have the highest movement speed, but the other penalties are quite low. Because the armor is made of ceramic, however, it breaks down pretty fast and doesn't repair well. The 6B13 Killa variant offers the best balance of movement and protection in the game, and is dropped by the scav boss Killa. It is the only class 5 armor on this list, and has the best stats in its class with a 9% movement penalty, 3% turning speed reduction, and -5 ergonomics. The armor is a great choice in basically any loadout, as I said in my armor guide, but it can be unreliable to find in large numbers, and sometimes is quite expensive on the flea market. I have also selected 4 helmets that fit well in a mobility loadout, and they are unsurprisingly all 4 of the high-cut helmets in the game. The LZSH helmet is sold by Ragman level 2 for 54,000 rubles, and is the least expensive helmet on this list. It's class 3 armor, fits most accessories for the fast MT, and it can use a face shield and contacts at the same time. It only has a 1% movement penalty, which is pretty nice, and it's an affordable option, but is less likely to actually save you due to the class 3 armor. The Fast MT helmet is sold by level 3 Ragman and level 4 Peacekeeper for around 100 to 140,000 rubles. It is nearly identical to the LZSH, but has class 4 armor and slightly higher durability. The Fast also has a 1% movement speed penalty, just like the LZSH. The ACH High Cut helmet is sold by Ragman level 3 for 60,000 rubles. It's class 4 armor and can use contacts, but doesn't allow for face shields or night vision mounts. This helmet is a good choice if you don't use face shields and want a class 4 helmet without paying for a fast. The ACH has a 2% movement speed penalty, making it slightly slower than the other options, but still a good choice. The Cry airframe is sold by Level 4 Peacekeeper for $1,282. It offers Class 4 armor and multiple accessory options. You can put the chops on to protect your face, along with a face shield or night vision, and contacts as well. The helmet alone has 0 movement speed penalties, but adding on parts does increase this slightly. The airframe is a great helmet even if you're not focusing on mobility, but in these loadouts it really fits perfectly because of the 0 base movement speed penalty. Your choice of backpack actually has quite an impact on your overall movement, as some backpacks can reduce your speed by 15% or more, which is quite significant. There are 3 clear winners for backpacks when it comes to mobility in Escape from Tarkov. First up is the Wartech Berkut backpack, sold by Level 2 Ragman for 21,000 rubles. It gives you a 5x4 container size, which is the same as a scav backpack. And this is one of my most used items because it has no movement speed penalties, and it's quite affordable. The only disadvantage is it has a pretty small looting space. The Beta 2 backpack is sold by Level 4 Ragman for 55,000 rubles, with a 5x6 container size, which is the same as a tri-zip, while taking up a smaller space in the stash. The Beta 2 has a 3% movement speed penalty, which is nice and low, and it's the perfect middle ground between space and speed. The Paratus backpack is sold by Level 4 Ragman for 65,000 rubles. It has a 5x7 container size, which is the same as an Attack 2. However, the space is divided into multiple compartments, which can make looting tricky sometimes. The Paratus has a 5% movement speed penalty, which considering its size is amazing for the price in my opinion. You can more or less mix and match these pieces however you choose, as most combinations should keep you below a 15% total movement speed penalty. In this next section, I'll give a few examples of setups I've created using this gear. The first example I want to talk about combines the TacTech rig, airframe helmet, and Berkut backpack. I call this one the run and gun loadout, because it's focused on the highest possible mobility and lets you get from point A to point B quite fast, with a total speed reduction of only 7%. This is a good one for rushing choke points and hot zones, as well as getting in and out of quest areas fast, but sacrifices some protection and looting space and is also quite expensive. Swap out the Berkut for a Paratus and you have huge looting potential with a 12% total speed reduction. The second combination I kind of liked was the Trooper Armor, LZSH helmet, and Berkut backpack. This is a cheap combo for a mobility loadout and has a 10% total movement speed penalty, with all 3 pieces being available for under 200,000 rubles total. Again, it does sacrifice some protection and looting space. The next example combines the Killa Armor, airframe helmet, and Beta 2 backpack. It comes out to a total of 12% movement speed penalties, but offers really solid protection. You can swap out the Beta 2 for a Berkut and get down to a 9% speed penalty, but if you're rolling with Killa's gear, you're going to want some space to stash gear from the PMCs you kill. As said before, these pieces can be combined in many different ways and still have more or less the same effect, but these are a few setups I've been playing with. Even if you don't set out to create a loadout based purely on high mobility, I hope this video gives you something to consider when putting together your next loadout. Even if you don't select every piece of your kit based on movement speed, adding one piece of high mobility gear can help to add some balance to your setup. Thanks to everyone for checking out the channel and providing such helpful feedback. I really appreciate it and it keeps me wanting to make more videos like this. I think for my next few videos, I want to get into looking at some of the weapons in Escape from Tarkov, most likely starting with the M4A1 and AK platforms, and going into the different modifications you can do as you advance up the levels. I stream raids on Twitch fairly regularly at twitch.tv/jdogthewise, and it would be great to see some more people drop by, so I'll leave a link for that in the description. Leave any comments, corrections, or suggestions down below, and until next time, stay safe in Tarkov City.